The massive council station floated in the void between three star systems. Its crystal walls stretched for kilometers, housing the most powerful beings in the galaxy. Today, those beings were angry. High Admiral Krextar slammed his forearms on the metal table. His blue skin turned darker with rage. "The humans have gone too far," he roared. His voice echoed through the great hall where 12 different alien species sat in a circle. The Nexari representative, a creature made of living crystal, spoke with a voice like breaking glass. "They have taken 17 star systems in just 2 years. Our sensors cannot track their ships properly." A floating gas cloud that was the Zephyrian delegate pulsed with red light. "Something is wrong with their technology. Our most advanced scanners show empty space where their vessels should be." Speaker Velthara raised her 6 hands for silence. She was the oldest member of the council, having lived for 3,000 years. Her green skin was covered in ancient scars from 100 wars. "We have called the humans here to answer for their crimes. They will explain these mysterious ships." The great doors of the council chamber slid open with a deep hum. 4 humans walked inside, looking very small compared to the giant aliens around them. They wore simple blue uniforms with Earth's symbol on their shoulders. Dr. Hyunwoo Park led the group. He was a middle-aged man with gray hair and calm eyes. Behind him walked Captain So-Young Kim, a woman with sharp features and confident steps. Engineer Tae-Hyun Lee carried a large device covered in blinking lights. Communications Officer Ji-Won Choi held a tablet and looked nervous. "Welcome, human," Speaker Velthara said. Her voice was cold. "You stand accused of illegal expansion into council territory." Dr. Hyunwoo bowed politely. "Thank you for inviting us, Speaker. We are honored to address the council." High Admiral Krextar stood up to his full height of 3 meters. "Honored? You have stolen our worlds. Your ships appear and disappear like ghosts. What dark magic are you using?" "No magic," Dr. Hyunwoo replied with a small smile. "Just science that your people have not discovered yet." The Valorian Admiral's eyes blazed with anger. "Impossible. Our civilization is 50,000 years old. What could a baby species like yours know that we do not?" Engineer Tae-Hyun Lee stepped forward. "Perhaps you have been looking in the wrong places, Admiral." The crystal Nexari made a sound like wind chimes. "Show us these mysterious ships." "Our sensors detect nothing unusual about your vessel outside." Captain So-Young Kim spoke for the first time. "That is because you are only looking at 15% of reality." The aliens looked confused. Speaker Velthara leaned forward in her chair. "Explain what you mean, human." Dr. Hyunwoo walked to the center of the circle. "Your Excellencies, may I ask what your scientists know about dark matter?" The gas cloud Zephyrian pulsed with yellow light. "Dark matter is theoretical. It cannot be seen or touched. It has no use." "No, you're wrong," Dr. Hyunwoo said gently. "Dark matter makes up 85% of all matter in the universe. You have spent 50,000 years learning to use 15% of reality. We humans decided to master the other 85%. The aliens began talking among themselves in worried voices. High Admiral Krextar pointed a clawed finger at the human. "You claim to build ships from invisible matter?" "Prove it!" Dr. Hyunwoo nodded to Communications Officer Ji-Won Choi. She pressed several buttons on her tablet. "Captain Kim, please bring the fleet to visible phase." Captain So-Young Kim touched a device on her wrist. "Fleet Command, this is Captain Kim. Begin materialization sequence." Authorization code 77 Alpha. The aliens looked around the chamber, expecting to see something happen. For a moment, nothing changed. Then Speaker Velthara's aide ran into the room, his face pale with fear. "Your Excellency," the aide gasped. "The sensors are going crazy. Something huge is appearing around the station." High Admiral Krextar activated a holographic display in the center of the room. The image showed the space around the council station. At first, everything looked normal. Then dark shapes began to form in the emptiness. The shapes grew larger and more solid. Within minutes, 15 massive warships surrounded the station. Each ship was 3 times larger than the council's biggest vessel. They had appeared from nowhere like shadows becoming real. "Impossible," whispered the Nexari representative. "Our sensors still show mostly empty space." Engineer Tae-Hyun Lee smiled. "Your sensors can only detect normal matter. Our ships exist primarily in dark matter dimensions. We can choose when to interact with your reality." The alien delegates sat in shocked silence. Their most advanced technology could barely detect the giant human fleet that now surrounded them. Captain So-Young Kim's voice came through the communication system. Fleet positioning complete. All vessels holding defensive formation. Dark matter shields at full power. High Admiral Kregstar stared at the holographic display. His hands shook with fear and anger. How is this possible? We have ruled the galaxy for millions of years. Dr. Hyunwoo spoke calmly. You have ruled the visible galaxy, Admiral. But you never knew that another galaxy existed in the same space, made of matter you could not see. Speaker Velthara stood up slowly. What do you want from us, humans? Peace, Dr. Hyunwoo replied. We have not taken your worlds. We have built our colonies in dark matter dimensions that overlap with normal space. Technically, we occupy the same locations but in different phases of reality. The Zephyrian delegate pulsed with angry red light. You have deceived us, made us fear invisible threats. We have hidden from you, Dr. Hyunwoo admitted, because we knew you would react with fear and violence when you learned the truth. Communications Officer Ji-won Choi suddenly looked up from her tablet. Her face was worried. Dr. Park, I'm detecting massive energy signatures approaching from the outer system. Dr. Hyunwoo frowned. What kind of signatures? Council warships, Ji-won replied. Looks like a full battle fleet. They're coming out of hyperspace now. High Admiral Kregstar smiled coldly. Did you think we would not be prepared for treachery? The Grand Armada will deal with your ghost ships. Through the great windows of the council chamber, the humans and aliens could see bright flashes as hundreds of warships appeared in the distance. The council's most powerful fleet had arrived to destroy the mysterious human vessels. Dr. Hyunwoo sighed sadly. We hoped this meeting would end peacefully. Captain So-young Kim's voice came through the communication system again. Dr. Park, we're detecting over 200 enemy vessels approaching. Orders? Prepare for defensive actions only, Dr. Hyunwoo replied. Do not fire unless fired upon. Speaker Velthara looked worried now. Admiral Kregstar, perhaps we should talk before starting a battle. But the Valorian Admiral was already speaking into his communication device. Grand Admiral Toxeron, this is Kregstar. The human ships are real but use unknown technology. Begin attack pattern 7. In the distance, the Council fleet began moving toward the human vessels. War was about to begin, and the aliens had no idea what they were really fighting. The Council station's warning systems screamed like dying animals. Red lights flashed in every corridor as the computer detected massive objects that should not exist. The alien delegates in the Great Chamber watched their holographic displays with growing terror. System error, announced the station's artificial intelligence. Detecting solid matter where sensors show empty space. Recalibrating detection systems. But no amount of recalibration could explain what they were seeing. The 15 human ships continued to grow more solid and visible. Each vessel was shaped like a long knife, with smooth, dark metal that seemed to absorb light. Strange energy patterns danced along their hulls like captured lightning. High Admiral Kregstar pounded his control panel. How big are those ships? Engineer Tae-hyun Lee checked his device. The flagship is 12 kilometers long. The smaller vessels are about 8 kilometers each. The Nexari representative made a sound like breaking crystal. That is larger than our battle stations. How did you build ships so massive without anyone noticing? We built them in dark matter shipyards, Dr. Hyunwoo explained. Entire space stations that exist in parallel dimensions. Your people flew past our construction sites thousands of times without seeing anything. Captain So-young Kim's voice filled the chamber again. Dr. Park, this is Captain Kim aboard the Admiral Yi. All fleet systems operational. Dark matter generators running at optimal efficiency. Speaker Velthara stared at the display. Admiral Yi? You named your flagship after one of your ancient warriors? Admiral Yi Sun-sin? Dr. Hyunwoo nodded. He defeated much larger enemy fleets using superior tactics and innovative technology. Very appropriate for today's situation. The Zephyrian delegate pulsed with confused colors. But our sensors still cannot properly detect your vessels. How can matter exist that we cannot measure? Engineer Tae-hyun Lee activated his device. A three-dimensional image appeared in the air, showing the structure of atoms. You see normal matter here, he said, pointing to bright particles. Protons, neutrons, electrons. This is what your technology can detect and manipulate. The image changed, showing dark spaces between the bright particles. But here is dark matter. 5 times more common than normal matter but invisible to your sensors. It has mass and gravity, but does not interact with electromagnetic radiation. The hologram expanded to show a vast network of dark structures surrounding the tiny bright particles. We learned to see and shape this invisible foundation of reality. Our ships are built from crystallized dark matter, held together by controlled dark energy fields. High Admiral Krextar shook his massive head. Impossible. If such technology existed, my scientists would have discovered it. Your scientists never looked for it, Dr. Hyunwoo replied gently. They were satisfied studying the small portion of the universe they could already see. Humans are different. We became fascinated by the unknown, the invisible, the mysterious. Communications Officer Ji-won Choi looked up from her tablet with worried eyes. Dr. Park, the Council fleet is almost in weapons range. I count 237 vessels. Through the great windows they could see the approaching armada. Massive battleships, sleek destroyers, and countless smaller vessels spread across the starfield like angry fireflies. The Council's most powerful fleet had never been defeated in battle. Captain So-young Kim reported from the flagship. All human vessels maintaining defensive positions. Dark matter shields charged and ready. Weapon systems on standby. Weapons? Speaker Vilthara asked. What kind of weapons can ships made of invisible matter carry? Engineer Taehyun Lee smiled grimly. Dark matter weapons that your shields cannot stop. We can solidify dark matter projectiles inside enemy hulls, bypassing all external defenses. The alien delegates looked at each other with growing fear. High Admiral Krextar tried to sound confident. 200 ships against 15. The odds are in our favor. Numbers mean nothing when your enemy exists in a different dimension, Dr. Hyunwoo said sadly. Our vessels can phase between solid and intangible states at will. Your weapons will pass harmlessly through us while ours strike from impossible angles. The Nexari representative's crystal body flickered with nervous energy. You could have conquered the galaxy already. Why did you hide from us? Because conquest was never our goal, Dr. Hyunwoo replied. We were preparing for something much worse than galactic politics. Before anyone could ask what he meant, a new voice echoed through the chamber. It came from everywhere at once, as if the walls themselves were speaking. This is Admiral Sang Ho-yoon of the Earth Defense Force. I am requesting permission to come aboard the Council Station. The aliens looked around in confusion. There had been no communication signal, no transmission detected by their equipment. High Admiral Krextar activated his scanner. Where is this Admiral? I detect no approaching shuttles. He does not need a shuttle, Dr. Hyunwoo said with a slight smile. The air in the center of the chamber began to shimmer like heat waves rising from hot pavement. The shimmer grew brighter and started to take the shape of a tall human man. Within moments, Admiral Sang Ho-yoon stood before them, wearing a uniform covered in strange symbols that seemed to move and change. Dark matter teleportation, Engineer Taehyun Lee explained to the shocked aliens. The Admiral has transported his atoms through dark matter dimensions directly onto your station. Admiral Sang Ho-yoon was a stern-looking man with gray hair and scars on his face. He bowed politely to the alien delegates. Honored council members, I bring greetings from Earth's government. Speaker Velthara's voice shook slightly. How did you materialize here? No species has mastered matter transportation. No species has mastered dark matter transportation, the Admiral corrected. We humans spent centuries studying quantum mechanics and dimensional physics. While your people perfected technology for the visible universe, we learned to manipulate the invisible majority. High Admiral Krextar pointed at his display. The Grand Armada is in position. Surrender now or face destruction. Admiral Sang Ho-yoon looked at the tactical display with calm interest. Grand Admiral Toxran commands that fleet, correct? I studied his battle tactics at our military academy. He prefers direct frontal assaults with overwhelming firepower. Our tactics have never failed, Krextar growled. They have never faced an enemy that exists primarily outside your three-dimensional understanding of space, the Admiral replied. Communications Officer Ji-won Choi suddenly stood up. Dr. Park, Admiral. The Council fleet is opening fire. On the holographic display, they could see bright flashes as hundreds of energy weapons discharged at once. Streams of plasma and particle beams raced toward the human ships at the speed of light. It was the most concentrated firepower ever assembled in galactic history. The energy beams reached the human fleet and passed completely through them, like light through glass. The dark matter vessels had phased into an intangible state, allowing the weapons to pass harmlessly through their hulls. Impossible, High Admiral Krextar shouted. Nothing can survive a full armada bombardment. Admiral Sang Ho Yoon touched a device on his uniform. All ships, this is Admiral Yoon. The Council has chosen violence. Implement Tactical Response Plan Beta. Show them what they are truly facing. What does that mean? Speaker Velthara demanded. Dr. Hyun-woo looked sad. It means you are about to learn why humans became masters of the invisible. We had to prepare for threats that your people cannot even see coming. The human ships began to move in ways that defied physics. They accelerated without visible engines, turned without thrusters, and most terrifying of all, some began to appear inside the Council fleet itself. Dark matter vessels materialized within the hulls of alien battleships, occupying the same space without collision. The battle was about to begin, but it would be unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. The battle in space was chaos beyond imagination. The Council's Grand Armada fired everything they had at the human fleet, but their weapons passed through the dark matter ships like shooting at shadows. Explosions lit up the void as mist shots hit asteroids and space debris. Inside the Council chamber, the alien delegates watched in horror as their most powerful fleet fought an enemy they could barely see. Admiral Sang Ho Yoon stood calmly in the center of the room, his hands behind his back, watching the tactical display. This is impossible, High Admiral Krextar said, his voice shaking. Our weapons have never failed before. Your weapons work perfectly, Admiral Yoon replied. But they are designed to fight enemies made of normal matter. We exist primarily in dark matter dimensions. Your energy beams cannot interact with our hulls when we phase shift. Dr. Hyun-woo stepped forward. Admiral Krextar, would you like to understand how we achieved this technology? Speak, the Valorian commander growled, though his eyes remained fixed on the battle display. Every species in this galaxy made the same mistake, Dr. Hyun-woo began. You focused on perfecting technology for the 15% of the universe you could see and touch. You built faster ships, stronger weapons, better shields, but you ignored the other 85% of reality. Engineer Tae-hyun Lee activated his device again. The holographic display showed the structure of the galaxy, with bright points representing stars and planets. This is what your people see, he said. The image changed, revealing vast networks of dark structures connecting every star system. This is what actually exists. Dark matter forms the backbone of the universe. It creates invisible highways between galaxies, hidden dimensions that overlap with normal space. Speaker Velthara leaned forward in her chair. But why did humans discover this when older civilizations did not? Dr. Hyun-woo smiled sadly. Because we are a young species and young species ask different questions. Your civilizations became comfortable with what they knew. You stopped looking for the impossible. Humans never stopped looking, Admiral Yoon added. We have always been fascinated by mysteries. Dark matter, quantum mechanics, the space between atoms. Other species called these things useless curiosities. We called them opportunities. Communications Officer Ji-won Choi looked up from her tablet. Admiral Captain Min-ji Kwan reports successful infiltration of the enemy flagship. The turtle ship is now positioned inside their command center. The aliens gasped. On the tactical display, they could see a small human vessel had somehow appeared inside the massive Council battleship, without breaking through its hull. How is that possible? The Nexari representative asked, her crystal voice filled with fear. Dark matter phasing, Engineer Tae-hyun Lee explained. Our ships can adjust their quantum state to pass through normal matter barriers. Captain Kwan's vessel is now occupying the same space as your flagship's bridge, but in a different dimensional phase. High Admiral Krextar activated his communication system. Grand Admiral Toxran, report your status. The reply came through filled with static and panic. We are under attack by invisible enemies. They appear inside our ships without warning. Our shields are useless. Admiral Yoon touched his uniform device. Captain Kwan, demonstrate our capabilities but do not harm the crew. Understood, Admiral, came the reply. On the tactical display, they watched as the Council flagship suddenly stopped firing. Its weapons powered down and its engines went silent. The massive battleship drifted helplessly in space. What did you do? Speaker Velthara demanded. Captain Kwan used dark matter manipulation to disable their power systems from inside, Admiral Yoon explained. She can reach any component of their ship without damaging the hull or harming the crew. Dr. Hyun-woo walked to the great windows overlooking the battle. This is why we remained hidden for so long. We knew that older civilizations would respond with fear and violence when they learned what we could do. The Zephyrian delegate pulsed with confused colors. But how did your species develop such impossible technology so quickly? Because we started from nothing, Dr. Hyunwoo replied. We had no advanced technology to make us comfortable. We had to explore every possibility, including the impossible ones. Engineer Tae-hyun Lee brought up a new hologram showing human scientists working in laboratories. While your people refined existing technology, our researchers studied phenomena that seemed useless. We spent decades learning about particles that could not be seen, forces that could not be measured, dimensions that could not be entered. We failed thousands of times, Dr. Hyunwoo continued, but humans are stubborn. We kept trying different approaches until we found ways to interact with dark matter directly. Admiral Yoon received another communication. Admiral, this is Commander Dongwook Nam. Fighter Squadron has successfully demonstrated faster-than-light travel without hyperspace engines. The aliens stared at the display as small human fighters suddenly appeared on the far side of the battle, having traveled across the entire star system in seconds. Impossible, High Admiral Krextar whispered. Nothing can move faster than light without entering hyperspace. Dark matter can, Admiral Yoon said simply. It exists in quantum states that allow instant transportation across vast distances. Our fighters adjust their dimensional phase to travel through dark matter channels. Dr. Heiran Seo's voice came through the communication system from one of the human ships. This is Dr. Seo aboard the research vessel King Sejong. I'm transmitting data about our quantum phase technology to help you understand. A new hologram appeared showing how human ships could exist in multiple dimensional states simultaneously. The display demonstrated vessels occupying normal space, dark matter space, and several quantum phases at the same time. One ship can attack from 5 different directions while remaining in the same physical location, Dr. Hyunwoo explained. We exist in dimensions that overlap with yours but follow different physical laws. Speaker Velthara stood up slowly. If you possess such power, why did you not simply conquer the galaxy? Admiral Yoon turned to face her. Because conquest was never our purpose. We developed this technology to prepare for a threat that your people cannot even detect. What threat? The Nexari representative asked. Dr. Hyunwoo activated his personal device. The chamber filled with a new image showing the space between galaxies. At first it appeared empty. Then dark shapes became visible, moving slowly through the void. We call them void leviathans, Dr. Hyunwoo said quietly. Creatures that exist entirely in dark matter dimensions. They feed on the dark matter foundations of star systems, causing normal matter to simply cease existing. The aliens stared at the images in horror. The creatures were enormous, larger than planets, with forms that seemed to shift and change as they moved. Our dark matter telescopes detected them several years ago, Admiral Yoon continued. They are moving toward this galaxy, but very slowly. Your people cannot see them because they exist only in dark matter dimensions. High Admiral Krextar's voice was barely a whisper. How long until they arrive? At their current speed, approximately 50 years, Dr. Hyunwoo replied. We have been preparing defenses, building fleets, developing weapons that can fight enemies made of invisible matter. Communications Officer Ji-won Choi suddenly looked alarmed. Dr. Park, I'm receiving an urgent transmission from Earth. Put it through, Dr. Hyunwoo ordered. A new voice filled the chamber, speaking with calm authority. This is Director Yoo-jin Han of the Global Dark Matter Research Consortium. All Council representatives, please observe. The space around Earth's moon began to shimmer on the tactical display. The moon itself seemed to fade and become transparent, then vanish completely. We have successfully converted Earth's moon into a pure dark matter construct, Director Han announced. It now exists entirely in dark matter dimensions but can manifest anywhere in the galaxy instantly. The aliens sat in stunned silence as they realized the full scope of human capabilities. Earth's moon had become an invisible fortress that could appear anywhere in space without warning. Admiral Yoon looked at the shocked alien delegates. Now you understand why we needed to remain hidden. We were not preparing to fight you. We were preparing to save you from something far worse than any galactic war. The battle in space had become a nightmare for the Council fleet. Grand Admiral Toxran watched from his command bridge as his most powerful ships were disabled one by enemies he could barely see. Human vessels appeared inside his battleships, struck from impossible angles, then vanished like ghosts. Status report. Toxrin shouted at his officers. 67 ships disabled, Admiral. His tactical officer replied with shaking hands. The humans are not destroying us, but they are taking away our weapons and engines. We cannot fight back effectively. On the council station, the alien delegates watched the one-sided battle with growing fear. Their finest fleet was being systematically dismantled by just 15 human ships. Captain Min Ji Kwan's voice came through the communication system from inside the council flagship. Admiral Yoon, we have successfully demonstrated our capabilities. The enemy fleet is neutralized but intact, awaiting further orders. Admiral Sang Ho Yoon stood calmly in the center of the chamber, watching the tactical displays. Maintain defensive positions only, Captain. We are here to protect, not to conquer. High Admiral Krekstar pounded his control panel in frustration. How are your ships doing this? Our sensors show empty space where your vessels attack from. Dr. Hyunwoo activated his personal device. A three-dimensional image appeared showing the battle from multiple perspectives. You are seeing the fight in only 3 dimensions, he explained. Our ships operate in 11-dimensional phases simultaneously. The hologram showed the same space from different quantum viewpoints. In normal space, the area appeared mostly empty. But from dark matter perspectives, it was crowded with human vessels moving in complex patterns. Each of our ships exists in multiple realities at once, Engineer Tae-hyun Lee added. We can attack from dimensions that do not exist in your understanding of physics, Commander Dong-wook Nam reported from his fighter squadron. Admiral, we have successfully demonstrated quantum tunneling through enemy shields. Our fighters are now positioned inside 17 different council vessels without triggering a single defense system. Speaker Velthara's voice trembled. Your warriors are inside our ships right now? Our pilots are occupying the same space as your crews but in different dimensional phases, Admiral Yoon replied. They could solidify at any moment, but they will not harm your people unless attacked. The Nexari representative's crystal body flickered with nervous energy. This is beyond our understanding of science. How can matter exist in multiple states simultaneously? Dr. Heirin Seo's voice came from the research vessel. It is actually quite simple once you understand quantum mechanics at the macro level. We learned to apply quantum superposition to entire spacecraft. A new hologram appeared showing the internal structure of a human ship. The vessel seemed to be built from crystallized shadows held together by invisible forces. Our hulls are constructed from stabilized dark matter, Dr. Seo explained. The framework exists in quantum superposition, allowing the ship to be solid, intangible, or partially phased depending on our needs. Captain So-young Kim reported from the flagship Admiral Yi. Admiral, our deep space sensors are detecting movement at the edge of the system. Something very large is approaching. Admiral Yoon frowned. Show me. The main display changed to show the outer reaches of the star system. At first nothing was visible. Then dark shapes began to emerge from the emptiness between stars. The shapes were enormous, dwarfing even the largest human battleships. More human vessels? High Admiral Krekstar asked hopefully. No, Dr. Hyunwoo said quietly. Those are void leviathans. The creatures I told you about earlier. The aliens stared in horror as the massive dark matter entities became visible on the display. Each creature was the size of a small moon, with forms that seemed to shift and flow like living shadows. There were 3 of them, moving slowly but steadily toward the inner system. How did they find us? Speaker Velthara asked. Our use of dark matter technology created vibrations in the quantum foam, Dr. Hyunwoo explained. The Leviathans are attracted to large concentrations of dark matter energy. Our fleet and the battle have drawn their attention. Communications Officer Ji-won Choi looked up from her tablet with frightened eyes. Dr. Park, Earth Command is reporting similar creatures approaching 12 other star systems. The Leviathans are moving faster than predicted. Admiral Yoon activated his communication system. All human vessels, this is Admiral Yoon. Void Leviathans detected in system. Implement Containment Protocol 7. Protect all civilian populations regardless of species. What can those creatures do? The Zephyrian delegate asked, pulsing with fearful colors. Engineer Tae-hyun Lee brought up a simulation showing what happened when void leviathans fed. They consume the dark matter foundations that hold normal matter together. When they feed on a star system, the planets and stars simply dissolve into elementary particles. The hologram showed a star system being consumed by the creatures. Planets crumbled into dust, stars collapsed into nothing, and entire civilizations vanished without a trace. Your people cannot even detect them, Dr. Hyunwoo continued. To your sensors, it would appear that star systems were spontaneously destroying themselves for no reason. High Admiral Krextar's voice was barely a whisper. How many star systems have they already consumed? In this galaxy? None yet, Admiral Yoon replied. But we have detected the remains of 17 galaxies in nearby clusters that have been completely devoured. Only dark matter traces remain. Captain Minji Kwan reported from inside the Council flagship. Admiral, the turtle ship is detecting quantum disturbances from the approaching Leviathans. They are beginning to feed on the dark matter in this system. On the tactical display, they could see space itself beginning to warp and twist around the massive creatures. Stars in the outer system flickered as their dark matter foundations were slowly consumed. We need to evacuate this system immediately, Dr. Hyunwoo said urgently. All civilian populations must be moved to safe areas. Where is safe? Speaker Velthara demanded. Systems protected by our dark matter shields, Admiral Yoon replied. We have been preparing sanctuary worlds for exactly this situation. The Nexari representative's voice was filled with desperation. How can we fight creatures made of invisible matter? The same way we built ships from invisible matter, Engineer Taehyun Lee said. With technology your people have never imagined possible. Captain So-young Kim's voice came from the flagship. Admiral, we are detecting massive quantum signatures. The Leviathans are preparing to accelerate their feeding process. Admiral Yoon made a decision. All ships prepare for emergency evacuation protocols. Begin quantum tunneling operations to move Council vessels to safe coordinates. You would save us? High Admiral Krextar asked in amazement. After we attacked your fleet? You attacked us because you were afraid, Dr. Hyunwoo replied. Fear is natural when facing the unknown. But we did not develop this technology to fight other species. We developed it to fight threats that transcend all species. Commander Dong Wook Nam reported from his fighter squadron. Admiral, our quantum tunneling systems can evacuate the entire Council fleet in approximately 6 minutes. But the Leviathans will consume the star system within the hour. Then we move quickly, Admiral Yoon ordered. Begin evacuation procedures. Save everyone. The aliens watched in amazement as human ships began surrounding their disabled vessels. Instead of attacking, the dark matter ships were preparing to transport the entire Council fleet to safety. Why are you helping us? Speaker Velthara asked. Admiral Yoon looked at her with sad eyes. Because very soon the distinction between human and alien will not matter. We will all be fighting for the survival of life itself against creatures that want to devour the foundations of reality. The evacuation began as space around them continued to warp. Under the influence of the approaching void Leviathans, the real war was about to begin, and it would be fought in dimensions that most species could not even perceive. The evacuation happened faster than anyone thought possible. Human ships surrounded each Council vessel and activated their quantum tunneling systems. Within minutes, the entire fleet vanished from the dying star system and reappeared in orbit around Earth. The alien delegates found themselves staring at humanity's homeworld for the first time. Earth hung in space like a blue jewel, but something was wrong. Where the moon should have been, there was only empty space that seemed to shimmer occasionally. Welcome to the Sol system, Admiral Sang-ho Yoon said as they materialized aboard the human flagship Admiral Yi. You are now under the protection of Earth's dark matter defense grid. Director Yu Jin Han appeared as a hologram in the center of the command bridge. She was a middle-aged woman with silver hair and kind eyes, but her voice carried the weight of enormous responsibility. Council representatives, Director Han said, I am transmitting data about the Void Leviathan threat to your respective governments. What you will see may be difficult to accept. The main display filled with images from across the galaxy. 12 different star systems showed the same horrifying sight. Massive dark matter creatures consuming the quantum foundations of reality itself. Planets dissolved, stars collapsed, and entire civilizations vanished without understanding what was destroying them. High Admiral Krextar stared at the destruction in shock. How long has this been happening? The first confirmed Leviathan feeding began 3 months ago, Dr. Hyunwoo replied. Your people reported these incidents as natural disasters or unexplained stellar collapse. Only our dark matter sensors could detect the true cause. Speaker Velthara looked at the tactical displays showing Earth's defenses. How can your single species protect an entire galaxy? We cannot, Admiral Yoon admitted. but we can teach other species to protect themselves if they are willing to learn. Engineer Tae-hyun Lee activated a holographic map of the galaxy. We have identified 47 systems that are currently under Leviathan attack. Without intervention, these systems will be completely consumed within 6 months. What kind of intervention? The Nexari representative asked, her crystal voice filled with hope and fear. Dr. Hyrin Seo appeared on the communication screen from her research vessel. We must establish a new type of civilization, one that exists primarily in dark matter dimensions, where the Leviathans cannot easily reach us. You want us to abandon our physical forms? The Zephyrian delegate asked, pulsing with worried colors. Not abandon, Dr. Hyunwoo corrected. Evolve. We can teach your people to exist in both dimensions simultaneously. Normal matter for interaction with the physical universe. Dark matter for protection against the Leviathans. Captain So Young Kim stepped forward. We have already begun construction of hybrid colonies where multiple species can live safely. The technology exists, but it requires cooperation between all galactic civilizations. Admiral Yoon activated the communication system. Council members, I am transmitting a formal proposal from Earth's government. We request the establishment of a new galactic confederation with Earth as the coordinating center for anti-Leviathan operations. High Admiral Krekstar's forearms trembled. You want us to accept human leadership? We want you to accept survival, Dr. Hyunwoo replied gently. Leadership is temporary. Extinction is permanent. Director Han's hologram gestured toward the empty space where Earth's moon should have been. As a demonstration of our commitment, we offer to share our most advanced technology immediately. Our moon fortress can be deployed to protect any threatened system within hours. The space around them suddenly filled with a massive structure as Earth's moon materialized from dark matter dimensions. The aliens gasped as they saw that the moon had been completely transformed into a technological marvel covered in defensive systems and quantum generators. The Luna defense platform can project dark matter shields around entire star systems, Director Han explained. We have 17 more platforms under construction. Each one can protect dozens of worlds simultaneously. Captain Minji Kwan reported from the turtle ship. Admiral, we are receiving responses from the evacuation sites. All council vessels have been successfully transported to safe coordinates. No crew casualties reported. Communications Officer Ji-won Choi looked up from her station. Dr. Park, I'm receiving priority transmissions from our deep space monitoring stations. The Leviathan advance has accelerated. They are moving toward populated systems much faster than predicted. The main display showed updated tracking data. The massive creatures were no longer moving slowly through space. They were actively hunting, following the quantum signatures of advanced civilizations. They have learned to track our technology, Engineer Tae-hyun Lee said grimly. Every time we use dark matter devices, we send signals that attract them. Species Counselor Jae-min-oh appeared as a hologram from the dark matter moon. He was a young man with serious eyes and an expression of deep concern. Council representatives, he said, we have detected movement in 17 other galaxies. The Void Leviathans are not just attacking our galaxy, they are consuming all advanced life in this region of the universe. The aliens sat in stunned silence as they realized the true scope of the threat. This was not just a galactic crisis. It was a universal catastrophe that threatened all intelligent life. Speaker Velthara stood up slowly. What are your terms for this confederation? Dr. Hyunwoo presented a holographic document. Equal representation for all species in government decisions, shared technology development, coordinated defense strategies, and most importantly, the immediate establishment of dark matter research facilities on every member world. And if we refuse? High Admiral Krekstar asked. Admiral Yoon looked out at the stars where Leviathans were feeding. Then you face the creatures alone, with technology they can see coming from light years away. The Nexari representative spoke first. The crystal worlds accept these terms. We offer our quantum computing technology to support the Confederation. The Zephyrian delegate pulsed with determined colors. The gas cloud collectives agree. Our atmospheric processors can be adapted for dark matter refinement. One by one, each species representative agreed to join the new Confederation. They had no choice. Survival required unity against an enemy that threatened the foundations of existence itself. Commander Dongwook Nam, reported from his fighter squadron. "Admiral, our scout ships are detecting something new. The Leviathans are beginning to communicate with each other across vast distances." "What does that mean?" Speaker Velthara asked. Dr. Hyun-woo studied the communication patterns on his display. "It means they are organizing. What we thought were individual creatures hunting randomly are actually parts of a coordinated intelligence." "A hive mind?" Engineer Taehyun Lee asked. "Something far more complex," Dr. Hyun-woo replied. "We may be facing the remnants of an ancient civilization that learned to exist entirely in dark matter dimensions. They have become so alien that they view normal matter as food rather than the foundation of life." Admiral Yoon made the final announcement. "Representatives of the new Galactic Confederation, we have approximately 37 days before the Leviathan swarm reaches our core systems. In that time, we must transform our entire civilization. Can it be done?" High Admiral Kregstar asked. "It has to be done," Captain So-young Kim replied, "because the alternative is the end of everything we know." As the first joint human-alien research teams began working together, Engineer Tae-hyun Lee detected something troubling on his sensors. The quantum signatures he was reading suggested that the Void Leviathans had not just noticed their activities, they were actively accelerating toward the Sol system. The real war for the survival of galactic civilization was about to begin, and it would be fought in dimensions that most species were only beginning to understand. Humanity had prepared for this moment for decades, but even they were not sure if their dark matter technology would be enough to face an enemy that had already consumed countless galaxies. The HFY, future of all life in the universe, now depended on whether former enemies could learn to work together against a threat that existed beyond the boundaries of normal reality.